Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to answer your questions, and I also have a really good topic for you today. I'm going to talk about a situation where you have your 2 year green card already, but you're experiencing mistreatment by the spouse who got you this green card, and you are trying to figure out how to move forward from the 2 year to the 10 year without involving this spouse. Sometimes you want to make the choice to move on to the 10 year green card without involving the spouse or without the assistance of the spouse, or it may not be a choice. You may be in a situation where this spouse is telling you they're not going to apply for your 10 year green card, that they're not going to cooperate with you, that they want a divorce. And in this case, you need to understand your options going forward. Now, there are three options available to apply without the spouse, but you must make sure that you submit a waiver, a formal waiver to Immigration Service, so that they can determine what make a determination on the application without involving the spouse. There's one based on divorce, one based on mistreatment. That's the one I'm going to talk about today, VAWA, and one based on extreme hardship. Now, with the VAWA, it doesn't require you to be divorced, it doesn't require you to be separated. It does require that you can still show that your marriage was real, that is bona fide, and that you experienced mistreatment. And as you always hear me say, mistreatment doesn't have to be physical violence. You don't have to have a police report or a medical report. You can also just go ahead and show that you were verbally, emotionally mistreated, and that also counts as what's called extreme hardship. So that counts as well to be able to allow you to apply for the waiver to move forward. Now, I'm telling you this because many individuals do not move forward once the spouse is refusing to apply, or they're unable to apply for the 10 year going from the 2 year with the immigrant spouse. The immigrant spouse tends to believe that they cannot move forward in the process, and sometimes they straight up give up on applying for their green card, their 10 year. They just ride out the 2 years, and then they experience a period where they don't have their papers anymore. You don't have to do this. The way that this works is when we go ahead and we do this for our clients, the spouse is unable to apply because they're mistreating them, then what we do is we submit an I-751 form to remove the conditions on the 2 year with a waiver. And the waiver isn't a form, but we provide it in the form of a brief or a detailed cover letter detailing why our client qualifies for a waiver and that they should consider the waiver. There's also a checked box on the I-751 to indicate that you're applying without the spouse and you are applying for a specific waiver, and then you have to specify which waiver you're going for. It is absolutely important that you make sure you submit this waiver. Now, if you apply with your spouse and then halfway through the process, they decide that they are not going to move forward with the process and they're mistreating you, then it's never too late to submit this waiver. You can submit this waiver anytime before, during the 90-day period you're supposed to submit the removal of conditions application, and after. Anytime before, during the period you're supposed to apply, and after the time that you were supposed to apply and when you submitted your application. One mistake you should never make, though, is just ignore that requirement to submit the waiver and show up at the interview without letting them know that you want a waiver to be processed, because that's a sure path to denial. Once you have not let them know that you want to apply for a waiver, They will expect your spouse to be at your interview. They'll be expect you and your spouse to be married and living in a marital union. If they're seeing anything other than that, they're going to issue a denial. Once we go ahead and we determine our clients qualify for this type of waiver, we go ahead and submit the I-751 along with a detailed cover letter or brief providing the legal basis for why they qualify for this based on mistreatment. At that point, what we get in return is a 4-year extension. Right now, they give a 4-year extension on your green card, and that allows you to continue to show that you're a permanent resident. And then it also allows you to travel using that extension and allows them to go through and process your waiver application along with the forms that you submitted. So it means that it helps you to make an easy transition from a 2-year to 10-year, even without the spouse, even without the spouse being involved. All right, so now that I have told you about this process, I'm going to leave it to you to give us a call, schedule your appointment. Our schedule is filling up. So make sure you get in early so that you can get this appointment so we can talk about your process and how we help you to win and empower yourself in the immigration process. Now I'm going to go to questions. So put those questions in the comments. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok today. So put your questions in the comments. I see a lot of questions here on TikTok. So let's start with TikTok. I got my work permit. How long my green card take to be approved? So it depends on what kind of process you're going through. But usually, if it's VAWA, a VAWA work permit, then you're looking at about 2 years. 2 more years if you are doing family based or a spouse or employer, you're looking at about a year, sometimes less than a year to a year and a half. Need to talk, go to the link in the profile. So where you are going to get the specific options available to you and the help that we can offer. You need to go to the link in the profile, schedule your appointment yourself, or call the office and get it scheduled. The link will give you everything you need. If you want to contact us by phone first, go to the website. If you want to do your own appointment, schedule your own appointment, that option is there as well. Just click on the confirm your own appointment. What if someone was married before but immigration flagged it as not authentic marriage? Then it's very important that you get legal advice, because that can lead to severe immigration consequences if they determine that there was fraud involved. So you want to avoid that at all costs, because it can bar you from ever applying for a green card in the future. So get legal advice to see if you can overcome that presumption. How long will it take for a green card through VAWA? So the entire process takes about 3 years. Keep in mind that you get the 5-year work permit, 5-year travel document about 6 months to a year after applying. And then it's able to hold you over until they issue the green card, until the VAWA approval, where you get another work permit and protection, further protections, and then you get the green card. How much is the initial consultation fee? 150. So your H4 visa, I'd like to apply for EAD. How long to wait? So whether you qualify for the work permit is going to depend on the circumstances involving your spouse, um, who has the I'm thinking H1B or H2B. If you overstayed your visitor's visa, can an employer file for you? At this point, an employer cannot file for you once you've overstayed. It's very, 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 very gloom at that point that you'll be able to qualify for adjustment of status to get the green card. So I would say give us a call. Let's talk, because if the employer, one thing, here's one rule of thumb, right? The rule of thumb here is papers first, then you work. Never work first for the employer before they can deliver those papers to you. The employer must give you those papers first before you start working. If the employer is promising to get this and that for you, but you have to come work for them first, I would be very, very suspicious. And usually it doesn't end very well. Usually that employer is using false promises to get you to work for them, and then you find yourself in a very bad situation. I know because I represent clients that are in this situation. My question is, I filed VAWA and I updated my case I-485 to get me and my children work permit. After 4 months, they approved only one of my child I-765 and I-131. That means I'm approved two and other children. Not necessarily. It just depends on the qualifications. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't, but it's hard to tell if they've approved everybody else just based on the approval of one person. How long does it take for the I-130 for my parents? So about it could be 9 to 12 months. What to do if she's using a false VAWA claim? So we don't, at this point, using a false VAWA claim, I wouldn't be able to assist with that. That's not my specialty. It is a confidential process, and usually the VAWA does not, they're not going to communicate. That's fraud. So if she is using a false VAWA claim, that's fraud and that's on her. But there wouldn't be anything I would advise any further because I don't deal with those kind of cases. How long does a mother sponsor take? I'm not sure what that means. I got my work permit and work authorization, but I didn't receive my travel permit, and it's 300 days. So yes, they may have just decoupled the work permit and the travel document, and it sometimes that happens. What if you were mistakenly issued a 10-year green card instead of a 2-year green card? Then you need to make them aware of that and submit the while I'm not your attorney, I can't give you specific legal advice until you're actually my client or in a consultation. But if I had a client in that situation, it would be very important to get that corrected, because that could be an issue at the point where you're going for citizenship, where you go with that mistaken 10-year green card. What they can turn around and say is, you should have never been given the 10-year green card. You should have been given the 2, and that can start a world of problems for you. In seeing that this is their mistake, that they made a mistake issuing a 10-year green card, then at that point, it should be free. Replacing the card should be free at that point. Can you file I-129F if you are in the process of getting a tourist? Yes, that's possible. It's possible, but they still are going to make sure you qualify for the VAWA, for the visa. How much does it cost to bring fiance, and how long does it take? So there, you'd have to look at the USCIS. Now, for the firm, we would have to talk to you first, and then we give you a quote. Can I apply for state ID with my work permit? Absolutely. Yes, you can. My U visa approved, and I applied a green card. How long does it take? The adjustment of status process can take 1.5 to 2 years. If my I-130 is denied, do they deny it quick, or does it take 9 to 12 months? So During the decision period, they're going to issue that decision, whether it's a denial or an approval. How long can a vacation 10 years green card holder will wait before file? So I think you might be saying how long of a maybe an international vacation can you take while having a 10-year green card? So I'd say just don't exceed that 6 months in a year, because that's gonna be a problem. How long my American citizen daughter files for me? I'm in the US, so your US citizen daughter has to be 21 or older, and after your citizen daughter files for you, then it could take less than a year. I'd say 10 to 12 months. Can I get green card if I already have my SSN? So SSN does not get you the green card. How do I prepare for my green card interview? Any tips? It depends on what kind of interview it is. If it's marriage based, make sure you're on the same page with your spouse. Go through, if you go to the link in the profile now, you will see, and go to Linktree, you will see I've provided sample interview questions. You can go there. Anybody who has to have an interview, actually any interview, it would be helpful. Go to the link and scroll down to the one of the last buttons on the page, and you'll see tips for the green card interview. Read through that. That can be very helpful. But if you're going in with a spouse, just make sure you and your spouse are on the same page, because, you know, they're going to ask questions about your history as a couple. And if your answers differ, they can give you a lot of problems. So um, make sure you carry original documents, like your passport, your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, any previous divorce decrees, your children's birth certificates. Make sure you have all of that with you as well. Is there a new administration? Do they reopen old? If there are a new administration, would they reopen old deportation case? Um, it depends on the case, but that is always a possibility. They would, of course, the prosecuting attorney would have, or the government attorney would have to file a motion to have that done. I received a notice for my I-131 and 485, but not the 360. It's been a year. Is this normal? You're supposed to get the receipt notice for the I-360 as well. So make sure it was delivered and follow up with them. Tell them you never got your I-360. How long does it take for a decision on I-765 case was transferred to new office? So it depends on what basis are you applying for the work permit with the I-765. It could be a few months, so it could be 3 to 6 months, could even be up to a year, depending on the case type. What's the time period? What's the time period can someone get a work permit? So I just answered that. What if I miss my biometrics appointment? Contact them, call the number, USCIS number, to have it rescheduled, and they'll send out a new notice. Um, if we deportation in previous marriage and now you're married, then 10 years eligible for PIP. Yes, it's possible, but you have to show that you entered the country without permission to qualify for this. Been married and divorced for over 6 years because of abuse. Is there hope for me? Yes, there is hope for you. We need to talk to you to find out what is the status of the abuser, what happened in that case, and then we would be able to tell you what you qualify for. So give us a call. There's absolutely hope, but we need to talk to you. No, oh, you said divorce for over 6 years? It's still a possibility. We just need to find out though what happened. What petitions do I need for my husband who has a P1 visa to become a resident. I'm a citizen. So you'll need to go through the adjustment of status process that requires a number of forms. And I definitely say make sure you schedule an appointment and get specific guidance on this process because it can get complicated and you don't want to miss anything. You are welcome. Hi there in Dubai. Can you travel with travel document with my any problem? Uh, you know, well, okay, great, Judge. I can't wait to talk to you. Uh, so when it comes to the travel document, I evaluate on a case by case basis because one person's risk may be really high, the others might be really low. So if you have anything that is in your background that can be of concern coming in, that might be a concern to the officers as well. They may hold you up or they may deny entry as well. But if you don't have anything in your background, then your risk is much lower. 8 months after I provided RFE that USS as I scheduled for interview, is that good? I say this: if you're scheduled for an interview, be very aware. And don't take it for granted. Prepare for that interview because right now they're waiving green card interviews. So if they issue the RFE and then still schedule an interview, then it means that they have some questions that may be hard questions. So you want to make sure you get legal advice and you are ready. Is it okay to file for a green card 2 months after marriage? Generally, it's fine, but I'd have to understand your circumstances. Do you take clients in California? Absolutely. We have clients in California. You're welcome, Tamika. Afternoon, filed in October 2023, marriage based case. Got my work card, social, but nothing on I-131, nor the I-130 and I-485. So yes, it's a waiting period and hopefully you'll hear something soon. All right, consultation fees, 150. Are they waiving VAWA green card? Yes, they are. We are getting green cards in the mail for our clients. So that's why I say if you get called in for an interview, be very wary because they're pretty much wanting to try to move things along by waiving green card interviews. But if they have additional questions or they spot something, they have questions, then they're gonna schedule that interview. Waiting for prima facie for 6 months, is that normal? I would say yes, it's pretty normal. 3 to 6 months, normal. You can always check in with them to make sure they haven't already sent it and it didn't get lost. It's been 40 days since I filed for my marriage green card and I'm not getting notification. So give them a call. File I-765 2021 in 2024, the request RFE, submit it, then no, they transfer a case to new office. And sometimes they're just dividing up the workflow and the workload. So nothing to worry about, just as long as you're meeting deadlines and keeping up with the case. How long does it take for I-130 to get approved? I'd say 9 to 12 months. Is it illegal to start a case without both parties being present to give consent, sponsor, and parent? So usually when you file the petition, you sign it. You as a citizen sign first, and then the adjustment of status is signed by the immigrant if they're in the United States. So it doesn't usually require, the immigrant to sign off on the initial petition, unless they're the spouse and you're submitting an I-130A at the same time. What could happen if an immigrant files a TPS document? Will it help them avoid deportation? Yes, TPS, once granted, protects you from deportation. Can you get a work permit and SSN without getting married? Yes, we've done it for our clients, but The way that we do it is going to depend on what you qualify for, and this is why the consultation is very important. How long does it take to get approved for the green card? It can take anywhere from a few months to even up to 20 years, depending on what category you're applying for. So I'd have to know that part. How long after case transfer to new office should they make a decision? There's no way to tell. Sometimes they transfer at the very beginning of the case. Sometimes they transfer a few months later. How long sibling based green card take? 14 years at minimum. I'd say 14 to 22 years range. Married to permanent resident husband, he filed for me in February 2024. How long to get approval? I'd say 9 to 12 months. And then if you're in the country, be very wary. If you're out of status, that can spell trouble for you. Is it true citizenship is being granted in 1 month? I have a green card. So it's not citizenship. It's called residence. Citizenship is very different from green card. I've heard, so the one that I got was within 5 months, so it is possible, but it's a unicorn. How can I get in contact with you to discuss about current case that has become a huge issue? Go to the link in the profile, schedule your own appointment, or call the office and they'll be more than happy to schedule. I am about to file a VAWA. I divorced my ex-wife a little over a year. My ex-wife lives in Florida and I live in NJ, New Jersey. What evidence do I need for VAWA? So we work with our clients, and evidence really differs from case to case. I would have to know what your case is about, what happened, to be able to determine what is the best evidence. But anything that shows mistreatment is going to work here. And also, we work with our clients on the declaration. That's a detailed statement by our client on paper that details what happened to them. And when it's provided in sufficient detail and is credible, the immigration officer will accept it as evidence as well. My J1 visa was canceled. Can I get married and get a green card? If you're subject to the 2-year foreign residency requirement, be careful. So get legal advice. Illegal migration, how long it's gonna take for his case pending? It depends what case it is. What's the cost to file VAWA? So the filing fees are zero, and then what we do is we evaluate you, make sure that you qualify, then hear what the details of the VAWA case is, and then at that point, we provide our quote to you after the consultation. The consultation is 150. Do you think it's safe to travel on parole? For the most part, but get legal advice on a case by, because really it is on a case by case basis. What does a person do before they renew a green card when you have a gross misdemeanor? Get legal advice, because anything to do with an offense, you want to make sure it's not going to lead to further bad consequences. Can you file a VAWA if you never lived together but married 10 years? I'm so glad that you mentioned this. VAWA, one of the requirements is that you at some point live together with your spouse. Now, maybe you're married 10 years, but did you even live together before you got married? I know you don't live together. No, you never lived together during the marriage, but at some point in your relationship, did you live together? If at some point in your relationship you live together, then you'd still qualify for VAWA. So whether you're married or not. How long does it take for VAWA I-485? So the total to get to the green card through the I-485 adjustment of status application, you'd be looking at about 2.5 to 3 years. You do get the benefit of work permit and travel document while you wait though. IR visa for child under 21. How long does it take? So I would say about a year and a half. The time they put in application is exactly what time they are going to take. Um, Okay, live different countries, only when came to visit, stayed with him. So give us a call. Let's talk about that. The living arrangement. And was there mistreatment during that time? I know you mentioned VAWA, so obviously there was some mistreatment, but we have to talk about the nature of it. So don't count yourself out. Schedule an appointment with me. I-485 submitted, but my driver's license to expire after 6 months. Do I have to worry? Make sure you submit for a work permit as well. And sometimes it depends on the type of I-485 you file, but it could be 3 to 6 months before you get the work permit. So in that case, you'll have to wait till you get the work permit approved to be able to get your license again. All right. Thanks so much for your time, everybody. These are good questions. Let me see here. I see one more new. I think one more. Okay, I answered this one. My ex-wife lives in. So about the evidence. So I answered that. Okay, thanks. I will work to make it back tomorrow. Just follow me, like, subscribe, and as soon as you see me come on, just join me then, and we can talk about some more questions. I really do appreciate these questions. They're great questions. So, and once again, I can only depend on you to reach out to get the help you need. Do that by going to the link in the bio or on Facebook, YouTube. Go to the link in the description of the video, and you'll see the link tree link to go schedule your own appointment or call the office for further assistance. All right. Have a great day. Bye.